Welcome to Bloody Good Horror, covering the best and worst of the horror genre since Halloween 2007. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be discussing Holidays, a brand new anthology film currently streaming on Netflix. I'm the editor-in-chief at bloodygoodhorror.com. Joining me tonight, first up, he's the co-host of the Instamatic and he writes horror fiction, and his name is Casey.
Oh shit, I'm first.
Casey, no clouds of vapor tonight. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, they're still here.
Right there. Next up on the show, he builds Bloody Good Horror with his magical little beaver hands. He's in Florida now on the East Coast, which means he showed up on time to the show. So golf clap, everybody. Very nice.
He was early.
That's right. His name is Mark.
10 minutes early. Don't get used to it.
Listen, Casey and I are here a half an hour before the show every week, chatting it up with the fans.
I know, it was pretty fun. I like talking about dumb shit, and that's a great
it's
time
like,
to talk
yeah,
about
it's
dumb
the perfect time on the pre-show, and then people can ask dumb questions, and it's good.
It's great.
Good times. Last up tonight on the show, rounding out the crew for us, the world's #1 Lady Ghostbusters fan. Her name is Sophie.
Howdy, y'all.
Also, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Queen of Sass at Bloody Good Horror.
That's what I do. It's important. It's an important job.
I never did find the animated GIF of you shushing me, but maybe BC has it. He's been good with on-the-spot requests lately, so.
Yeah. If he sends it again, I'll save it for real, and then I'll have it.
Aside from, the myriad of things we're going to discuss tonight, as in Kevin Smith's stunted maturity level, a couple other things going on in our world in general. Mark, you're now the second BGH person that has lived in Florida. A different Florida than the one I lived in, to be fair. But what's your life journey been like so far?
Oh my god, I've seen dead armadillos and wild turkeys. I've seen the things I've seen.
You know what's scary about the part of Florida you're in? They have big, scary, venomous spiders. Because they like it dry, and it's not like that in Southeast where I was, but the Northwest, they have banana spiders. You should Google that.
Sweet. I don't know if I'm that far northwest with the banana spot. I haven't seen one.
I'm gonna Google it right now.
Why are you trying to scare me? I'm actually I'm really enjoying Florida so far. I like Publix. I found some cool restaurants and breweries and stuff in town. Getting used to driving again. I mean, I have driven over the past 5 years, but not super regularly, so that's a thing. But it's awesome. I'm loving the air conditioning. Living in the air conditioning. Life is good. It's a very cushy existence. And I'm excited for like the winter when everyone's bitching about shoveling their cars out, and I'm like, nah, I'm grilled outside today. It was great.
The first time you're at like a cookout in February, you're just like, oh my god, why doesn't everybody live here?
Yeah.
Eventually you figure out why, but that's fine. Just enjoy it while it lasts.
Just wait till you start complaining about being cold when it's like 50 degrees.
Yeah. On the flip side, you will discover new kinds of ass sweat you didn't know existed. So
I was thinking about that exactly today. I think it's only been a week and a half, and I think my body chemistry has changed.
I always say, like, if you go watch the first season of Dexter, that first season they actually filmed in Miami because everyone's shirts are covered in sweat in the back, like just the whole thing.
It's going to take me a little while to not feel like they can smell the Yankee on me everywhere I go. On the pre-show, I was talking to Sophie about how nice everyone in Publix is. And like, I can't tell if I'm like being independent or rude by refusing nice gestures, like helping me with my groceries and shit.
Listen, Southern people are fake nice. It's all bullshit. Let's not pretend.
I'll take fake.
They hate you just as much as everyone else in the Northeast does.
Yeah,
we're just more honest about it.
Well, the Midwest is sort of a middle ground, right? Actually, people in the Midwest are pretty nice, but there's also that base layer of cynicism and cantankerousness. But no, I'm.
You're saying there's the people in the Midwest and Joe.
Right.
Are there palm trees where you are? That was like one of my favorites.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, there's palm tree. It's weird. Like in North Florida, there's palm trees, but also pine trees. It's like this interesting hybrid situation. I also saw the night we arrived, I heard this loud boom and saw this like prehistoric sized pine cone hit a basketball hoop. It was like it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, everything is really big and like alive. Everything's alive.
Everything swells with growth around here, especially in the summer. So it's you know, I can see why monster movies are set here.
Like find anything outside and kick it, and I guarantee you something is living underneath it, and it will be pissed.
Yeah. So
don't do that.
Yeah. Did you guys see my picture of the banana spider I put in the?
I don't want to look at it because I won't sleep.
It's in the chat.
I choose to ignore it.
Do it.
Nope.
My friend that lived in Tampa found a banana spider. Oh, why?
Here, I've just put something in the chat that's very important that you have to read for the show. Go look at it.
I do not like that. I am very upset by that.
Ask our aunt and uncle who live over there have had encounters with banana spiders before. Good times. What else is going on?
Fire ants.
A trailer for the Citizen Kane of our generation was released this week, and by that, of course, I mean Resident Evil, the last one, or what's it called?
Dude, I'm final chapter.
It's the final.
Did I make that up?
Yeah, it says final chapter here in this poster I have in the video.
I could have 100% made that up and still been right. I'm not gonna lie, Eric. Usually when we post trailers, sometimes I like wait until the very last minute. I watched it right when you sent it. It actually doesn't look that bad.
I mean, what's cool about the Resident Evil at this point is like, and I guess if you're not a long-time listener, it's probably hard for you to understand the reverence with which I may speak about these films. And you know, you could always join Patreon and go back and listen to all of them, but. It's a thing at this point. It's part of your, just like John can't get away from Duke. Like this is just part of your character, and even if you didn't like it, you still have to pretend like you. You know, I didn't start this show being like obsessed with Resident Evil movies. Like I enjoyed the first one and had never seen another one. I didn't, or never saw the second one, and then we picked up. I'm pretty sure with the third one, which is the one that basically is kind of like a rip on Day of the Dead to an extent. And I think it's when they're in the Vegas desert. I don't know, but like, and that one's just kind of bad. But then as they've gone on, they have gotten so like avant-garde dumb in the most amazing way, and just complete lack of plot cohesion, totally nonsensical action, just banana shit. And I think it was the moment. It was, of course, you know, one of them was the inspiration for the infamous Bloody Good Horror rain fights discussion, where there's a scene in the bathroom where they're fighting in like bathroom rain, I guess, that's coming out of the drain or whatever, and she's got the sawed-off shotgun that she's for some reason blasting coins out of, and there's the like, it's her and Ali Larter, and it was in 3D. I think it was the first one we all saw in 3D, and I was like, this is the dumbest, awesomest thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And ever since then,
that's when they were landing a plane on the top of the skyscraper.
Yes. Ever since then, I've kind of been in a love affair with these movies, and this one's been delayed, so I've been like excited to see it come to fruition finally.
I wish we were so rich as an entertainment entity that we could fund a Resident Evil film fest where we watch all of them in order.
I thought about it. I really have.
Just to see. I just like.
We could make it happen.
The other thing that's fascinating about them is that they're all very, like, much like the Saw movies, they're very sort of self-referential. So if you just pick up in the middle of it, not only does it not make sense, but it super doesn't make sense because it assumes you've seen like.
Well, and it's also hilarious because like it comes from a video game series that makes zero sense, but it doesn't even. But they've done their. It doesn't even make sense in the. It doesn't not make sense in this a different way. If that makes sense,
this
like
trailer.
They grab
this
random.
Trailer's doing callbacks.
Yes, yeah, and they've done that before. Like in the previous one, I think it was the previous one where they have the Umbrella Corp test site, where they've got like clones of like suddenly Michelle Rodriguez is back because she's been cloned, and they're using them to like test scenarios in this biodome thing. But like I was saying, like they take random weird inspirations from the games and then bolt them onto their like already nonsensical scripts, and it's just like they're like fever dreams. They're unbelievably weird.
See, but this is where this trailer won me over, is because they have the laser hallway from, I think,
the laser hallway. I think the laser hallway was the first one.
Was it the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
Because like of all these movies, that's the thing I remember is because that movie must have came out in like 2002 or something, or 2003.
Yeah. No, 98.
Because I think I was in high school when I saw it.
I think it was 1998.
Okay, so
me
maybe
look.
I was in
Damn.
Maybe I'm
middle
wrong.
school. I don't
Let me
know,
look.
but but that's like one of the only scenes I remember from that movie is like the laser hallway and like the people like sliding apart. But
2002.
I feel like more so than any of the other sequels. Wait, did I get that right? 2002?
2002.
Nice. I don't know if I said that, but I'm like gonna retribute
Yeah,
that.
you were closer than I was.
I think this one more so than the other ones seems to really lean into the campiness of the whole thing, whereas the other sequels have been characterized by this earnestness of like, yeah, you totally kept up with these movies and you can't wait for this one coming up.
I gotta say too, like the last one, if you remember from our review, like really kind of amped up the action. I mean, we actually like even Schnars like grudgingly said some of the action in this movie is okay.
It was the best. I mean, it was the best thing in the movie, and yeah, like maybe they realized that no one gives a shit about the story and like can't follow it.
Yeah.
So why not just go? Why not just go crazy?
I don't know why you guys aren't writing the quotes for the DVD covers. These are all ringing endorsements. The action was okay.
I want to see on the trailer at the movie theater where it pops up before the trailer starts where it says Eric Newell banana shit.
Yeah. Eric Newell's favorite series.
Bathroom Rain.
Yeah, it's and it's like
Bathroom Rain.
It's another thing I love just about having done this show for so long that we can just follow these dumb sagas. Like literally, I know more about Resident Evil than any human being should.
Yeah.
At this point, Mila Jovovich has got to just be tired. Like it's her husband producing them, and she's got to be like, "Can we just end this shit, please?"
I just hope this one in this movie that we finally, especially with the Resident Evil movies, get her to come out before the movie starts and look at us and say, guys, this is real.
This is really real.
This is for real. This really happened.
Good times. Resident Evil. Bloody Disgusting calls it the greatest horror film of this month.
It redefines the genre.
It has things.
What else is anything else going on? Sophie, what's going on with you?
I'm leaving for Missouri tomorrow.
I think you mean Missouri.
My boyfriend from Missouri will be super offended to hear you say that.
Missouri.
He goes on these like long tangents about how he doesn't know where that pronunciation comes from. Yeah, him and all of his bros go on like a super boozy canoe trip every year, and I'm going this year. I went last year too. Last year, a girl from Kansas got in a fight with me because she thought that Delaware and New Hampshire touch each other and make a rectangle. And I was like, no, they don't. And she's like, yes, they do. I learned it in class. And I was like, I live in Delaware. Like, it takes 8 hours to drive to New Hampshire.
I learned it.
That big.
Did you just Google it?
No, because we're in the middle of, like, bumfuck nowhere in Missouri. There's no internet.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're wrong. And then also her friend who was, because basically the place that you go, you pay like $25 and you get 2 nights of camping the night before and the night after, and then a canoe trip the middle day. And they have 2 sides of the campsite. One is for families and one is the party side. It doesn't have like, you can be as loud as you want for as long as you want and no one cares. So everyone just like meanders around to meet people. And some guy who was like a local MMA champion told me he would give me his belt if I could knock our friend unconscious. And I was like, I'm good.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you did it.
I mean, I totally could have, but I had just met him. I didn't want to make him uncomfortable.
We just had a tweet with BGH this weekend, right?
We did.
How did
it
that
went
go?
really well. Casey played.
I was there.
It's cute that you guys still tweet me at like 9:30 at night. You guys should join in. Like, I've been asleep for 2 hours.
We knew you were asleep, but
It was
I
a
forget
Lynn
what we
Shay
were tweeting
site.
you about. Yeah, it was Lynn Shay. We could not say something.
Lynn Shay, Jack A.
What was
I
the-
just needed to really
If
do
you
that.
see something, say something.
What
We
was
had
the
to-
movie?
New Nightmare.
What was the highlight for you
Of the movie or of tweeting?
of the movie? Well, both, right?
So I had seen it before, but this was the first time that I was reading the IMDb trivia as I watched it. And I don't know if I assume you've all seen it. I don't know if you remember at the end, there's a really horrifying scene where Freddy Krueger's tongue gets really long and like wraps all around Heather Langenkamp's body.
I do remember that.
Well.
According to IMDb, that scene took 2 days to shoot.
I'm really glad they spent
might
that
have
much
been my favorite part
time.
of the entire experience.
I'm really glad they spent that much time shooting like the worst ending in the entire series because like it's this great film. It's got this I don't know.
It's really cool. It's a really cool idea.
For the time, I think seeing it was like pretty mind blowing. Like you got to think it was pre-Scream too, so that kind of meta-ness was pretty out there. But it's got this really nice building tension, and Freddy's very menacing and scary, with the exception
Children are creepy.
with the exception of the fact that his glove is the worst. It's like little plastic knives that you see bending throughout the whole movie. It's like,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
then
yeah.
this big build up, and then this like wet fart of an ending. They like wrestle with Freddy in a hot tub in the boiler room, and then he's dead, and then that's it, and the movie's
It's pretty
over.
lame. Oh,
We
also,
had a
you
good
guys.
time.
Go ahead.
I was
Keith.
going to say we had a good time making the Pet Cemetery jokes throughout the movie because of Miko.
Miko Hughes, man. I will say every time she sews up his dinosaur, and it's like I'm always like, I got something in my eye. Oh god. She's because that's like his little defender, the dinosaur, and then he
Yeah.
wakes up and it's got Freddy claws on him.
Gotta get a better defender, bruh.
We
Yeah,
also
he's not
found
doing his
out that
job.
the terrible mom, the terrible mom / medical examiner from the Scream TV show is the babysitter in that movie.
90210. She was on.
Yeah, that was a mind blowing thing.
That is an obscure line to draw.
Yeah. She was
saw
Well,
on.
one of them's still current, so
She was on 90210, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I still haven't seen the Scream TV series, despite Netflix telling me that I like really totally
It's-
have to see
It
it.
looks bad.
Don't.
It looks
It's
bad.
not good. I'm like hate watching it now, and it's just
The
not
second
good.
season is falling off hard.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough. But also other things that have been up that you guys would appreciate. When I was in Chicago a couple weeks ago, I got to see the child I used to babysit for, and he's 3, and his birthday was coming up, so I bought him a T-shirt with a little cartoon Freddy on it that said "Always follow your dreams," which his parents. I couldn't tell if they thought it was funny or they were kind of horrified.
The best reactions are a combination of both.
Right. I was like, he doesn't know what it means. It's fine. And Freddy like looks nice on the T-shirt, so.
Also, just before I know we're
Eric's just
probably
shaking his head like, yeah.
probably diving into the review pretty soon, but shout out to Sophie, and I think Spencer had a little bit of a hand in this too. There's a list on the website. So we've been doing this United States of Horror series, which is a series of lists about horror from different states and regions. And this one this week was New Orleans and Louisiana in general. And this one, very special, comes with food and cocktail recommendations. And I would also recommend that you read the food and cocktail recommendations in a Southern accent to yourself, as I did. For example, White Boot Blonde Ale from Mudbug Brewery in Terrebonne Parish.
Mudbutt?
Excuse me, it's Terrebonne Parish.
What did I say? Terrebonne.
Terrebonne. Yeah,
Terrebonne?
the food and drink pairing was Spencer's idea, and it was really fun to try to put it together and not overlap with the other ones.
Yeah, so I would recommend going to that. It's still featured on the website. And also scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on the little thing that says United States of Horror. And you can see our other lists. We have New England, New York City, and Appalachian horror films.
Mark,
So
it's actually Terrebonne. Brewery.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, you stole my thing.
Yeah. Great. Also, if you want to get back episodes of the show, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. You can do that. You can figure out how to stream the show live, and that includes pre-show shenanigans, which usually involves me and other members of the show eating dinner on the stream sexily for you. So check that
You
out.
like sounds of people eating and words like milk bag. You'll be very into the pizza.
All right, guys. Let's do it. Time to discuss holidays.
Goddamn Brenda's exploding like a water balloon. Worms driving my friends around like they're goddamn skin cars. People are spitting acid at me, turning you into guided cheese, and now there's no fucking goddamn Mr. Pibb.
Jesus Christ, Jack, let me get right on it.
Hi, this is Tom Savini, and you're listening to BloodyGoodHorror.com.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. Up the front time, bitch. Main feature.
And we're back. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Eric.
We decided pre-show that you were going to do the word of the day, but I have a very important question for you.
What's that?
I mean, I suppose I should know this. You are my brother, but if you're going to fill in for John Schnars, I'm going to need to know if you have a college degree.
I do have a college degree.
What college was it, so we may judge accordingly?
It was from the Rochester Institute of Technology in
Ah.
beautiful, scenic Rochester, New York.
Who goes there? Like a lot of engineers?
Yep.
Engineers, do they know words?
They do know words.
Like, yeah, I got nothing.
You tried so hard. It was so good.
All right. Please bring us the word of the day.
All right. Today's word of the day, which may have been a word already, but I'm just going to go for it, is anthropomorphic.
Ooh.
Anthropomorphic.
Muffin.
I lost it. The music is so distracting. Is described or thought of as being like human beings in appearance, behavior, etc. Considering animals, objects, etc. as having human qualities. And it comes from, I had it selected. Oh man, I lost it. It comes from the late Latin word anthropomorphos, which is actually almost the exact same word, which itself traces to a Greek term birthed from the roots anthrop, meaning human being, and morphos. That's it. It doesn't say what morphos means.
Morphos.
We all know what morphos means.
Morphos.
That's it, anthropomorphic, and it is relevant to this movie because there are at least 2 shorts in which there is either a human with animal qualities or an animal with human qualities, one of which is my favorite in the entire anthology, and I can't wait to talk about it.
I remember when Anthrop and Morphos toured in the 80s.
Yeah. Morphos, your one true God and Savior.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a good name. There should be a Transformer named Morphos.
Yes. Also, derivatives include polymorphism, the quality or state of existing in or assuming different forms.
Yes.
For a little extended word.
Thank you. And how does that pertain to this movie? That's the most important part of the word of the day, or did you forget?
No, I actually already said it, and you weren't listening.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
there are 2 shorts. There are 2 shorts in which there are anthropomorphous animals or animal-like humans. If you want to split.
The more you say it, the less that sounds like a real word. I'm gonna be honest.
Anthropomorphous.
All right. I'm not going to synopsize the whole thing here because we'll probably get to that as we kind of discuss each individual thing. But this is an anthology film. I don't know much about its kind of lineage or where it comes from, but it's got a bunch of different people involved. Just the
Latin website Netflix.
was it in like a Netflix thing?
No, I don't know if it was a
saying,
Netflix original.
You're just saying words now. So this guy, Anthony Scott Burns, Kevin Kolsch, these are directors. Nicholas McCarthy, Adam Egypt Mortimer, which that's a name. Ellen Reed, Gary Shore, which sounds familiar. I feel like I should know that name. Kevin Smith, Sarah Adina Smith, Scott Stewart, and Dennis Widmeyer. And save for like one of the segments, they were all written by the same people. So, why do I know the name Gary Shore?
He did Dracula Untold.
He did Dracula Untold. That's right. Yeah. So basically, the conceit of this, it's an anthology film, and it's similar in structure to ABCs of Death because there's no wraparound story. We see a story. I don't even know if we're told what holiday it is until after, right? It's like at the end of each story,
They give hints throughout the shorts.
Well, right, you kind of figure it out, but at the end of each story, like a little 3D card flips up and says like Happy Father's Day, and then you know what it is, and then it goes on to the next one. And they're all sort of, some of them are very, very directly tied to that holiday and its mythos. Some of them, like Kevin Smith's in particular, is just like, oh, this story is taking place on Halloween. That's it, basically. So, you know, there's varying levels of tying it in and stuff. And I think we'll probably, I don't know, there's just so many of them. I think we'll just maybe talk about each segment, I guess.
We gotta.
Casey, what did you think of this here movie?
Overall, I enjoyed it. I would have liked more of I always like a good wraparound story in my anthology movies, and this did not have that. But at the same time, it was really cool to see some of these shorts. They were all felt, for the most part, they all felt fairly, well, they definitely all felt unique. But they felt different from what you normally see in something like this, other than like the first one, which felt It was pretty formulaic. Not formulaic. It's not to say that it was bad. It's pretty simple setup. Um, there was some good stuff going on here. It was really fun to go through and dig through IMDb after each short and see who directed it and see what else they directed. A lot of these people you're familiar with other projects, so it's kind of cool to see them busted out doing some weird stuff in other veins.
Mark.
And so I go back and forth on anthologies. Like some of, like obviously we always talk about something like Creepshow, and then we've talked about both ABCs of Death movies on this podcast. And I think that ABCs of Death, while a great concept, is a little bit exhausting. Like it's too much. It's like it's just insane, really.
And also at some point, you're like, I'm not watching a movie. I'm watching somebody's like badly curated YouTube playlist of horror shorts.
Sure. And I think that I think one of the things that I liked about this, and I will say that I liked it with the exception of one of them, which I'm sure we just sort of universally didn't like, but this hits the sweet spot between something like VHS that like sometimes those shorts are actually a little bit too long, and then ABCs of Death where it's like rapid fire, short attention span sort of thing. So this like to me hits a sweet spot in between those two where it's like the shorts are actually kind of a perfect length, and I would argue that they kind of wrap up a little too soon, some of them. But in terms of just like making it through, there's lots of really original and super weird shit in here. So I think like it kind of scratches that itch. There's some really good creature stuff. There's some really suspenseful stuff. There's some really like mysterious stuff. So I think this actually hits a lot of really good beats, even though like obviously like all anthologies, there's some stinkers in with the ones that are really high quality.
Stanks. Sophie.
So I agree with Mark. I feel I usually come in on the side of not being a fan of anthologies just because I have a hard time sticking with. I enjoy shorts individually, but watching them all back to back to back can really start to drag on. And I think part of it too is that a lot of times you get anthologies where not only do you have a lot of variation in the stories being told, but like some of the directors clearly have interesting things they want to do and some don't. And I think these all had this really nice through line that all of the directors seemed completely competent. Mostly. There were a lot of really awesome practical effects, and there were a lot of really cool visuals and nods to older horror films, which I thought were cool. And that all worked really well. And then also watching anthologies as someone who also happens to be a woman and a horror fan, I get really annoyed with anthologies that just throw in a lot of nudity where it doesn't really feel like it makes sense just to like take up time or because they can. So I appreciated that this didn't really pull any punches. It didn't really feel like it threw in any nonsense sexuality for the sake of being like boobs, because boobs are a thing and we're all aware and we don't need to watch them all the time.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I don't need to watch them all.
We're going to play a game. I'm going to
I have no idea
it's
where
time
this
to
is going.
play a
I don't know where
game.
this is going.
I'm going to randomly pick one of you and give you a short segment name, and you're going to synopsize it in less than 2 sentences.
Uh-oh.
So we can just get it all out on the table.
All right.
Mark,
Yeah.
I'll give you the easy one. Father's Day. I'm literally just reading in order.
God.
I'm reading in order that the directors are listed on IMDb.
Yeah, that's easy.
Father's Day. Girl discovers cassette tape, which takes her on a quest to find her lost father, and surprise, there are surprises.
Nice. Well done. Sophie, Valentine's Day.
Young girl on a swim team is in love with her swim coach and makes some poor decisions.
Yes. Yeah, good. Nice.
This game is fun.
Casey, Easter.
Weird naked bunnies changing your beliefs of the holiday.
Also, anthropomorphism.
Anthropomorphic
Yes.
bunnies, right. Mark, New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. Catfish gets catfished.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert. Also,
Whoops.
I am not playing because this is my game. Sophie, Mother's Day.
I have to remember what that one was. Weird fertility cult has sinister motives.
Good. Casey,
These are turning into newspaper headlines.
St. Patrick's Day.
A really adorable yet super creepy redheaded girl lures in a new mother for
Okay.
her family.
Okay.
Casey gets all the hard ones.
Mark,
Yeah.
Halloween.
Halloween. Ugh. Epic mealtime guy with man pigtails becomes victimized by the women that he has victimized.
I mean, that was a little vague.
No, that was pretty spot on.
Well, I
It's
mean,
not like
Aren't they supposed to be vague?
no mention of webcams.
It's not like we're not going to talk about that one
I
because
know.
that's
I
on
know.
the.
All right, who just went? Mark?
Well, you say that's vague, but that was like the extent of it.
Okay, so we did
That
Mother's
guy probably has a
Day.
name too, but he's always going to be Epic Mealtime
Epic
guy.
mealtime guy.
One more, Sophie, Christmas.
Uh,
Seth Green.
no, I remember which one it is. I'm just trying to think of how to summarize it. A dad goes to pretty extreme lengths to get his son a Christmas present and then ends up regretting it. Maybe.
Yes.
The regret might be questionable.
Yes. Okay. Very nice. Golf
That was
clap.
good. That was fun.
That was a fun game.
You're welcome.
You should do that with ABC's of Death 3 and just have that be the
Oh,
entire
that man.
shot.
That is holy crap.
Slow
Just go all the
drowning.
way around the house.
I should have
Slow
done
drowning
that.
on Boogie Board.
That's so good. I enjoyed this film. I am like, like a lot of people of a certain age. I have a lot of 80s anthologies that I have an affinity for. I think that at some point in modern times, they stopped being of interest to me. And it was kind of around the point where they stopped doing really well thought out wraparound stories, but also making sure that all the shorts feel the same. Like as soon as we started doing this YouTube playlist bullshit where we just throw money at people, they go off in different directions, make totally random things that don't look or feel or sound alike, and then we just cram them together with some 3D title like that. It really is so, it's very ABCs of Death like that.
Also, sorry, just to jump in, like I also feel like at a point they became more about shock value than they did about being kind of like coherent, well
Sure.
wrapped up stories, which is a big thing. in
So
this.
for me, it kind of has a lot going against it going in because I just don't like this format. That said, I think it's a testament to the quality of the writing and the directing going on here that I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think that at about 52 minutes into the movie, because I went back and checked, we see a segment called Father's Day that is like one of the best things I've seen all year. I thought it's just incredibly emotional and creepy and tense and like very smart. Probably costs like no money to make and is incredible. It steals the show in this film. It's immediately followed up by a wet, hot fart from Kevin Smith that I didn't realize came from him until I saw his name at the end. But literally, if I didn't have to watch this for the show, I probably would have turned it off. Like, it's just garbage nonsense. And so, but there's the crux.
Poopy doo-doo garbage, poo-poo nonsense.
There is
gross.
the crux of an anthology film, especially one with as many stories as this has, right? You can't put either one of those ones in any different order. You can't put the Kevin Smith one first because you wouldn't watch the rest of it. You can't put the Amazing one first because then it's all downhill, and you can't really backload it either. So,
well, and they're also, I mean, they're in chronological order.
I tell you what, like, and I know, like, so, I think Casey, like, the Kevin Smith one didn't bother. I mean, let's just talk about it. So, like, it's a dude, a creepy guy. If anybody who saw the documentary on Netflix that, Rashida Jones did about how like young girls are lured into porn. It's actually set in Miami, and then like they live in this house with a guy who's just like lures them out there and then just kind of uses them for money. Very similar. Like guy runs a house, except
Can
he's
we call
got
him Canadian Bacon?
Canadian Bacon.
That feels appropriate.
He's got girls in there doing webcamming or whatever, and it's Halloween night, and they're complaining because they want to go out. Nobody's calling or whatever. Nobody's chat camming them.
Also, one of the girls is Kevin Smith's daughter, which is an interesting casting
Which
choice.
is weird and creepy, yeah. And we hear him like talking to whoever the next girl is coming out, and it's just very skeevy. Like he basically, when they tell him they don't want to work, he just threatens them like, "Well, I don't give a shit. Like the next young generation is coming up to take it from you anyway." And then stuff sort of comes to a head, and they decide to take some revenge on him in a very Kevin Smith way, I guess. It involves butts, let's just say. I don't know, Casey, you want to share your thoughts on this? I've complained about it a bunch of this.
Well,
point.
I am a notorious Kevin Smith apologist, so take that, my views with a grain of salt.
If only Joe were here.
Yeah. Joe knows my views. But yes, this was definitely the low point of the whole anthology. It's not a great short. Actually, because I didn't even think about it until we were talking at the beginning of the show when I think it was you, Eric, that mentioned the fact. I never dawned on somebody mentioned it. There's nothing to do with Halloween in this except for it took place on Halloween.
Except that
now
one-
You
now
saw him
that
buy
the-
candy.
Literally, the girl just goes, "Hey, it's Halloween. We want to go out."
Yeah, but now that that's been pointed out to me, I'm actually leaning more towards this was shit because everything else worked in their holidays. This didn't. So fuck it.
It's so fucking it's so lazy in a film where you have people, and not all of them are like, I don't know. Actually, every other one has a pretty decent claim of like how they wrapped it in, and some of them went to great lengths to just like take the mythology of that holiday and really twist and kind of morph it in weird ways.
This one feels like, to me, honestly, we never know the true origin of these things, and I also feel like, if you think about Tusk or like eventually when we see Yoga Hosers, like Kevin Smith probably just gets high and writes shit down and then like makes a movie from there. But this one actually felt like he came up with the ending first and then worked backwards from there, and it obviously we have no way of telling that, but it comes through to me like that he just, I don't know.
Somebody on Twitter said it's like he wrote a single draft without editing and took the first take of every shot.
There's that. I would guess that I would go further to say that he actually had an idea for a fuller movie. When we were discussing this before the show in email, Sophie mentioned, how the ending of this wraps up, and there's kind of the girls getting their revenge and things like that, and then this new girl shows up, and it's like nothing's going to change. I have a feeling, I feel that there was probably more there. He couldn't sell the idea to anybody, and they came to him for this. He's like, hey, let's shoehorn this in there, and because it's freaky and weird, and there you go. It seems like that they could have done more. That there could have been more that came at the end, after the conclusion of this movie. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a Kevin Smith apologist.
I mean, there's I think that
we should say how it like kind of. We should say that what happens, because that's why it's so dumb.
When we say how it happens, can we talk about how that doesn't, I don't understand scientifically how any of that makes any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Was he getting electrocuted?
In his butt?
No, that was just the vibrator that was going extra strong.
No.
To a car battery.
No, I think it literally was electrocuting him.
I don't think we should ever say what happened. I think we should discuss what's wrong with it before we explain
So,
what happened, because then it's even more.
But you can hear it vibrating.
No, I know, but
it had to be electrocuting him for him to.
I thought it was insinuating that it was also shocking, that as they were turning it up, it was shocking him.
Because I can't imagine that it vibrating would be that excruciatingly painful. Okay, we should talk about what happened.
So they get revenge on him by knocking him out, and when he wakes up, he's been locked into one of their camera rooms with the camera on, and they get on the chat and they proceed to tell him that he has had a vibrator glued into his butt and his butt glued shut, and then that vibrator's been attached to a car battery.
Very elaborate.
And they are now like controlling it from the other room, and they throw a knife under the door and tell him to make himself some lady parts or something. It's like
they say hollow it out.
Oh god, it's really disgusting, first of all, but also it's just like, we've discussed this with Kevin Smith before. It's kind of like it's written the way a 16-year-old would write that and then giggle and be like, it's in his butt. Like it's just so juvenile and it's not funny or scary or interesting.
It doesn't make sense because does he die at the end when they turn the car battery all the way up?
I think so, yeah.
But how does he die? Like the dildo just vibrates until he dies? Because that doesn't make any sense.
Death by vibrator.
He has to be getting electrocuted.
Right. That's what I thought.
I mean, I picture in my mind it was like a jackhammer effect.
I mean, I think we should all just
like.
I think we should all remember next time we have to think about Kevin Smith that he's forcing us to have this conversation.
There's only so much vibration the human butthole can take,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would argue it's not all right. Anyway, that just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, the larger problem with this is like, because we've seen like more nonsensical shit in movies. I think that like, again, we can't assume intent, and I'm sure I'm ascribing more intent than there actually was. But Kevin Smith, this has the basic like underpinnings of like, yeah, this is like a feminist statement. They're like fighting back. And they're like doing crazy shit to their captor. The problem is
it's just lazy.
It's not. Well, it's not only it's like Kevin Smith has not figured out in his like 40s yet how to write female characters. And also like this feels like if you took like a stone 16-year-old and were like, yeah, write like a feminist exploitation movie, it feels like in like 10 minutes, and this is what happens. And it's he tries to be funny, but like the things that like he had, the guy's name is Harley, I can't remember his last name.
Canadian Bacon.
Canadian Bacon. So he has Canadian Bacon say these things, which are like obviously very like aggressive and misogynistic and abusive and whatever, but like the way that it's delivered and the way that it's written almost makes me feel like he thinks those things are kind of funny, you know, like he tries to like,
he thinks they're funny like a 16-year-old would.
right. So it sort of
butts,
it undermines any sort of like any sort of really enjoyment that you can get from this. I don't know. Like I just
so
like
we
in order to find that funny and to find this whole thing entertaining, you kind of just have to be on that level, and we're just like not on that level anymore.
we very much have to move on. But I think I think that the lesson from all this is that, you know, he's been on his own crusade to just do whatever the hell he wants, F Hollywood, and I love that. Like Tusk, I'll take Tusk all day.
Tusk was great.
But the
Love
problem
Tusk.
with this is that it's poisoning the rest of this really interesting anthology, and it just because it stands out. It's not just like, oh, it's kind of bad and some of the other ones are bad. It's like, no, it stands out in the middle. You can't help but like be thinking about it when it's over. But we really have to move on because we've been talking about it for like 20
really
minutes.
Short?
Yeah.
Well, just because we have brought up the idea that it really feels like he had the intention of making some kind of like feminist revenge thing, he completely undercuts it because they kill Canadian Bacon, and then one of the new girls shows up and they're like, oh, he's not here anymore, we're under new management, please come in. And like they're gonna do the same thing to her. So like
maybe
just, like,
I didn't
blows up whatever
necessarily
intentions he had.
I didn't necessarily jump to that. I just felt like they didn't. Maybe they run it in a nice way. I don't know.
That's why I thought that he had more.
But they
in
just
mind
butt
for it.
murdered somebody.
Maybe they run it in like an egalitarian manner, and everyone gets
They're
like stock
18,
options.
I don't buy anyway. That's a whole thing, but yeah.
Anyway, so moving on, I want to talk about Father's Day because to me it's like, this thing blew me away. I actually went back and watched it again. You know, the girl gets this cassette tape. She's by herself in her apartment, and it's her father, played by, what did we decide, Michael LaGrosse or whatever, is that the guy's name?
Oh, Michael Gross.
Michael Gross, who was in Tremors, but also was the dad of the Keaton family, right? On Family Ties. And he's like, this is such a genius, like, device, but he's talking to his daughter in modern times, but on the tape, he's actually with his daughter as a little girl. And we find out quickly that, like, he left her when he was a kid and she hasn't seen him. And it's this very emotional thing. She can hear herself as a little girl, which to me was this very creepy device throughout this whole thing, but like just very emotional. And he tells her, I didn't never mean to, you know, I never wanted to leave you. I'm so sorry. If you want to see me, go to the place we were playing that day and flip the tape over. So she kind of debates it, and then she does it. And then there's this great sequence where she's following his instructions from the past of like turn left on this road and this road, and it takes her to this mysterious building, and she walks in, and then you kind of have this twisty climax. It's like it's a simple thing, right? It's just one actress and Michael LaRose's voice, and that's it, you know what I mean? But very, very effective and subtle, and I wanted to look up more about the filmmaker who did this because it just blew me away.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about because it's like, it's very much, like, I agree that it was great. It's hard to talk about the specifics of it because you actually just described what happens. Like, all the power in it is kind of how it's shot and the tension that goes throughout it. And I don't really want to, like, I don't mind spoiling some of these, but I don't really want to spoil this one, although I don't know how well you could spoil it. It's kind of up for interpretation.
Well,
but
so I will say that there's like lots of really interesting little hints and clues as to what's going on, nothing overt, but we put chief symbolologist Cece on it today. She was supposed to join us, but I just included her on the discussion even though she wasn't gonna be in the show, and she came back with an essay of like, well, she's using these numbers and she's wearing this color and then they say this, and it's like we actually asked her to write it up for the site, which is gonna be really cool. But that's the other cool thing is it's got it's got a lot under the hood, I feel like.
I mean, in comparison to the Kevin Smith one we were talking about, this one feels just like very, very intentional and very well made. And so that's like another thing that just makes it stand out so much, is that it's like really, really thoughtful, even though not a lot happens really, but it's one of the best ones.
So if aside from this one, I want to know, like, what are some of people's other favorite segments?
I loved St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Ditto.
I don't know what it was. It's been a couple weeks since I've been on the show, if you can't tell, because I'm a little excited. But I loved St. Patrick's Day because I thought the kid was so good. It was so like campy and creepy, but like just actually really creepy. I loved that you couldn't tell what was going on. And then the ending, I don't know if spoiling it would even make sense. It is so gleefully fucking goofy that I like laughed out loud, and I almost never do that when we watch movies for the show. I just thought it was, I don't know what it was. It just like, it really hit a sweet spot for me in terms of just how like campy and ridiculous it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anybody else?
I thought the little girl, like you said, was amazing. As soon as they got the little girl, first time you see her on screen, she creeps you out. I thought the teacher was really good in this short too.
Yeah. The only thing that I'll add is I think my favorite element of this short was that, I don't know if we want to spoil what happens, but the fact that everyone is just talking about this really insane thing that's going on as though it's completely normal. I mean, they're acting like they're a little bit concerned.
Right.
But they don't seem to be that shocked.
The Rosemary's Baby part in particular, like that's actually, it starts off like just like, oh, this is like a, creepy, maybe possessed kid or something, or like there's something going on with the kid. And the point at which her doctor explains to her what's going on in terms of the Hollywood film Rosemary's Baby, as she says, is like the point where this just gets really ridiculous. And then it just like tumbles down this hill of silliness that I was like so on board with. I don't know what it was, but I loved it.
And there's a really horrifying and also really funny sequence of the teacher like sniffing, really intensely sniffing, and then trying to stuff an entire baby onesie into her mouth in the middle of a store while a store clerk is like, no, please, you need to, I need that back.
There's
which was pretty great.
There's a lot of like, I mean, funny in some instances, but a lot of like really heavy themes about motherhood in this film, like across multiple stories.
Yeah.
It's also a lot of body stuff. This is like, I would say this is like 90% body stuff. I
think
anthology.
That I wouldn't necessarily call it my favorite, but I think the Easter one is incredibly creepy. Like that, just the way that it is kind of, and Cece brought this up, but like the way it's twisting Christian mythology and really looking at it in this way of like, yeah, this is like really unsettling, especially I feel like for a child who they understand it, you know what I mean? And so they've got they basically morphed Jesus and the Easter Bunny together into one horrifying chimera.
Just like a wet thing.
Yeah,
like and it's like really wet.
Its chest hair was so wet.
It spends extended time just staring.
Effect for it, because there's a lot of shots of that character like talking, which almost kind of ruins it for me. But it does almost feel like they were just super proud of what they did, and they're like, you are gonna look at this for 10 minutes. And try and figure out what's going
and I'm
on.
not like I'm not a huge fan of short films, but when they do work, I feel like it's when they take an idea that really is interesting in a 10-minute burst, but couldn't work for 90 minutes, you know?
And the greatest thing about that short, the reason it's one of my favorites is because the premise that they've set up for this whole short is something all of us have heard at least somebody say in our life, because, especially growing up as kids and stuff, with the whole idea of why is the Easter Bunny involved in Easter, because it's supposed to be about Jesus.
Here's a secret. He's a pagan. Oh my God. You know what? The other kind of combo I liked is I really enjoyed where it wraps up with Christmas and New Year's. So Christmas is like Seth Green is like, it's near future, because there's like, he goes to buy his kid this virtual reality headset on Christmas Eve, and a guy gets the last one, but then out in the parking lot the guy has a heart attack, and instead of helping him, he takes the virtual reality thing. Well, it turns out this is like the near future where all you gotta do is put it on your head and it knows who you are and it hooks up to your social stuff and gives you an experience based on you. So like the kid puts it on and something happens, and then he goes, "Oh, cool, let me try it out." And he puts it on, and it's like immediately like S&M porn. You're like, "Oh, I could see how this could get weird."
It's
And-
like a condensed version of Ex Machina.
You know, it's like a great little Twilight Zone-y story. So then, you know, his wife discovers it at some point, and then at the very end, he kind of discovers something out about his wife. But he's kind of great in the role, and it's a fun little twist, nice short, you know. And it's just that, and then rolling into New Year's Eve, I just thought it was a nice kind of like come down and.
So I will say I really liked the Christmas one, although the nerd in me was like trying to find some semblance of I didn't get why it was, you know, sometimes he could see other people's and sometimes he could see his.
Yeah, there was no way you should be able to see other people's if it can recognize you as soon as you put it on.
Well, right, like the idea of logging out doesn't make sense because
right when he called the support, he's like, yeah, we can just hack into the video feed.
But I also got the sense that there was kind of like supernaturally stuff happening. Because like he shouldn't have really been able to see the guy dying. Like that seemed like a Twilight Zone kind of thing.
I took that as more of a mental thing.
It's very Twilight Zone-y, which I really liked, even if it doesn't make a ton of sense. It's very much like, you know, kind of made me think of that. I can't remember the name of it, but I was just thinking about it because I saw like a really cool pin that someone made of the Twilight Zone with the like fortune teller thing in the diner. I don't know if you guys remember the one I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it. It kind of reminded me of that, like, you know, peering into your soul a little bit. So yeah, I thought it was really good, and I like Seth Green.
I love Seth Green.
So, serious question, and I'm sure this isn't the first time I've asked this on the show. When you see me, or you see me like standing next to a taller person, do I look as like tiny and sprite-like as Seth Green does? Because something about him, like he just looks like, man.
Coming from someone who is ever so slightly larger than you,
that's
yes,
unfortunate.
Eric, when people see you and I together or around, that's what they think.
There's something.
It was funny, like around.
I totally get it now. There's something about Seth Green that's like kind of unsettling.
Around the time that I got married, someone pointed out to me that I have a type when it comes to my friends, and pointed out that like all of my friends were really tall and I was pretty small. And I don't know if that's like just a function, if that's like a real thing, or if that's just a function of me being a shorter person. But you are really like, if like Elijah Wood and Seth Green like ran into each other really fast, I think it would be you.
It also really starkly drew to attention my attention that like when you're short, and short people out there listening, this is good advice. It's really important to have clothes that fit you really well. So like your sleeves, like his sleeves on his jacket were like halfway down his hand, and he just looks like he's going to the first day of school and like he got the wrong size.
Yeah, it's a fine line between looking like you're wearing your dad's clothes and
exactly. Exactly.
Just wear tight clothes, and then you'll look jacked. You'll look like just like a jacked person who is shrunk down a little bit.
And then so we go into New Year's Eve that has Mrs. Eli Roth in it.
Lorenza Izzo.
It's kind of the perfect role for her because she's kind of just quirky, and you know, I liked it.
I liked it. I thought it was. I kind of spoiled it already. I don't know how like much more we want to spoil it, but I think this, in terms of an anthology thing, it had like a nice little twist, which hopefully you forgot what I said already. But the that's the most you can ask for. Like I think that there are some really surprising scenes in most of these shorts, which I think made them really good. And I think this one was kind of the most surprising because I wasn't sure where it was going to go, and then I was pretty happy with where it went. Insofar as you can be happy about those things.
You know, thinking about that too with the New Year's Eve one, Eric said how, you know, Christmas and New Year's Eve seem to kind of like wind it down a little bit in a nice way. If you think about it, New Year's Eve is really kind of as simple story-wise as Valentine's Day was at the beginning of this movie. So it made kind of nice bookends.
Yeah, so two things. One, if Frosted Flake crusted chicken fingers are a thing, I want to know where they are. And I want to eat them. That's thing number one. We didn't really talk about Valentine's Day. I didn't think it was the best out of all of these, but I think it actually felt like it could have been an ABCs of Death segment, specifically with the ending. Like it was actually longer than it needed to be, but I liked the whole trajectory of the thing. I didn't love like all of the content, but I did like start to finish kind of what it ended up being.
I feel like
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I feel like the storyline was really basic, but I felt like visually it was one of the most interesting to look at. I thought they did a lot of really cool things with color, and they were clearly trying to draw on, you know, like 80s aesthetic, which I think they did to interesting effect. I think I said this over email, but it was they drew a little bit on Carrie, and so it was kind of interesting to see a 70s movie being retold in 2016 short through the lens of what an 80s movie would have looked like.
Yeah.
Was a cool idea.
Yeah.
There's some good synth in there. I've just
Yeah.
been watching Stranger Things, so I'm very synth sensitive right now, and there's lots of synth in Valentine's Day.
I will say, Mark, I checked. There is no movie guide for this. However, there is a movie guide for the Duck Dynasty episode, A Home for the Holidays. 4
Read that instead.
4 stars. One of the very best Duck Dynasty episodes. It's also one of the most redemptive, emotionally powerful episodes. As always, it has strong Christian faith, even more so than other Duck Dynasty episodes people might see.
Is that the one where Uncle Si lost his teacup and they finally found it by the end?
Oh, geez, Louise.
I don't want to know what else you know about.
Hey, do they was Moonshiners? Have you guys ever watched that? I've never watched it, but I
It's
for
so
some reason looked it
stupid.
up. There's a guy on that show named Jim Tom, and he has a song. He has a song that he sings about rye whiskey, and I saw a YouTube video of it, and it's my favorite thing.
Moonshine is just so dumb.
Yes.
Anyway, so I think the interesting thing about this is like, and why I harp on the Kevin Smith thing so much is like, even though it's not the type of anthology I typically enjoy, if you take that Kevin Smith thing out, I don't think I really have a complaint. Like it's because it's an hour 40 too, so it's probably a little too long. So
I would have wanted Mother's Day. I feel like Mother's Day is maybe not the only one, but one of the ones where I feel like it would have been a lot better as a full movie than a short.
Yeah,
since we didn't talk about that one.
Yeah, but
that one had a weird time jump that could have, because at first I thought what the things that transgress with the main girl in this flick, at first it seemed like it would have happened overnight, but then they kind of helped lead in there that she was actually gone for a number of months. So I think I would have liked to have seen that interim time play out to see what all happened there, if that makes sense without getting too spoilery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because that short covers 9 months, but it seems like it covers 2 days.
Yeah.
Right. Demon babies grow faster. So.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of that. I thought that it was. I don't know. I thought that it was well done, but I didn't really. The ending was like a little lackluster to me. I was like, oh, I figured that's what was going to happen.
Yeah. But also, can we just talk for a second about how horrifying it would be if you, I guess, or your partner, because you're all dudes, got pregnant every time you had sex? That's a terrifying premise.
It is like there's that funny moment where she says that to one of the women at the fertility clinic, and she's like, "Oh, it must be horrible."
She's like, "Oh, that sucks."
Which again, like super heavy, like ostensibly a joke, but very heavy stuff about motherhood. And
I mean, it's a very heavy concept to bury into a short that you have to like wrap up, you know.
Also, I like the actress who plays the kind of woman in charge is on. She's from Boardwalk Empire. She's really good. Oh, she's I don't know. She has a recognizable name, but I can't think of it.
Guy, Eric, you said we weren't going to talk about every one of these, and I think we did.
Yeah, I think we got it.
We actually did it.
Yeah, definitely. It's I really enjoyed this movie. I'll just wrap it up. Recommendations. I say thumbs up. I still think it's way better to make a coherent anthology. Like, imagine if you had Kevin Smith had been busy that day, and then you took one of these shorts and like maybe built it as a wraparound. Like maybe take something like New Year's Eve or something, like, hey, it's the last holiday, and I don't know, but then like really kind of weave all this stuff together. It could have been even better. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm being tricked into watching short movies, which I hate. So.
And I feel like if you're making a horror movie about holidays, Halloween could easily be left out because enough of those have been made.
Or
and
at
much
least,
better made.
Actually make it Halloween-y also would work.
I thought about that too, because maybe that was Kevin Smith's idea. Everybody's going real into the holidays. Halloween is overdone. He's going to skirt around it, but that's giving him a lot of credit.
That's real deep. That's real deep,
Yes.
Kevin Smith.
Everybody's doing this thing. I'm doing this other thing. Wah. Yeah.
Maybe he was just like, everyone in this movie is doing a holiday themed short, so I'm just gonna lean out really hard.
Lean out.
Because I'm a rebel.
Casey, would you recommend this?
Yes,
Mark.
I would.
Mark.
Yeah, definitely watch it with your weirdest friend, but maybe not someone who's not weird.
Sophie.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, me too. It's on Netflix. Holidays. Check it out. We'll be right back.
There is a girl My name is Quinn Lord, and I am from Trick or Treat, and you are listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send your emails to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or hit us up on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And don't forget to pick up back episodes of the show at podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com.
And we are back. Joe's not here, so not only are we watching him dance right now in the video, I'm also putting up this picture of him at Disney World as a kid where he looks like Kim Jong-il. So we got that going for us.
Great.
Yeah, it's incredible with that creepy little dragon thing that guy has. I have another thing I really want to put in the video, but I don't want to ruin the reveal, I guess. So info.
Yeah, don't put it there yet.
info@bloodygoodhorror.com's email address. We just got 2 emails this week. Actually, let me dip back right quick and see if we got any others during the show. Since you're short on emails. Since next, this is from Sam. Next time you guys have a slow week, or if you're just bored, check out this Australian film, Infinity. It's a nice little take on the Event Horizon formula, and that's such a small horror niche. It's nice. It's a nice diversion from shitty anthology flicks and ghost movies. Also, it stars Luke Hemsworth and this dude who looks vaguely like Schnars.
Who is Luke Hemsworth? Is he
I
another
don't
Hemsworth?
know, but this guy does kind of look like Schnars. I'm going to put that in the video for a second.
I think he's the third one.
Wait,
Ooh,
And that's not even being a smartass.
He's like Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah.
Oh, you leave Stephen Baldwin alone.
He looks older though. He's like he looks like he's the oldest. An Australian
It could
actor known for his role as Nathan Tyson in the TV series Neighbours. You know, Neighbours. It's like Friends, but it's Australian. You know.
Dingo.
See? The guy looks like Schnars a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know.
Not
Like
as
he's,
much.
He's white. He's like a white.
Yeah,
dude.
he's a white guy. Next
He
up.
looks like John in that way.
Next up.
He looks like John in that John is the default white guy.
Yeah.
Caitlin.
He's white and wears collared shirts.
Caitlin, who I never noticed, Mark, comes from Florida. She says, listening to episode 314, you guys mentioned the New Zealand guys who are watching Grown Ups 2 every week and recording a podcast. How did that end? It's been a year now, right? So
They've all died.
I only made it through about 17 episodes. What I found is that it actually got really heavy because as the weeks go on, like they're dedicating 2 hours of their week to watching this movie, and they are like very upset about it at some point. Like some of the episodes is just them being really angry at themselves and the world, and like other ones they find a funny thing to talk about. It is fascinating. I recommend it's I don't know what it's called. It's like the
I
worst.
just started it. I think it's called The Worst Idea.
The worst idea ever, or something like
ever?
that. Yeah, it's just two comedians from New Zealand. Their accents. That was the other problem I had. Is the accents were like
Worst idea of all time. Sorry.
yeah,
Careful.
like no, I just can't follow it. Like I can't understand half of what they're saying.
I feel like years and years from now, podcast scholars, because that'll be a thing, will look back on that and be like, this is like a statement on, podcasting and media consumption.
As
It is a
someone,
really interesting idea.
as someone who likes weird, dumb stuff and hates modern Adam Sandler, it was like a really good cross section of those two things.
Eric, are you listening to My Dad Wrote a Porno?
I don't know what that is.
Are any of you listening to this
No.
podcast? It's my new favorite.
No.
You just made that up, Sophie.
No, there is a British man, so this is all British accents, which makes everything funnier. His father wrote and self-published an erotic novella, and he is reading it aloud one chapter at a time to 2 of his friends.
God, I just looked at so it's My Dad Wrote a Porno.
Yeah,
This is,
everyone
oh,
should
it's funny.
everyone should listen to it.
The picture
weird.
is amazing. The night is youngish for Belinda as she heads into an exclusive casino and encounters a potential new Russian client, Grigor Kalinsky.
Yeah,
That's
the book is
the-
called Belinda Blinked, if that gets your motor going.
What the fuck? Oh, well, that's scintillating. Thank you. I want to listen to that. That's great. That's a great recommendation.
Yeah, thank you. Info@bloodygoodhorror.com is email address. We're also on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH and BGH Classics.
Yeah, which one do you want me to do first? I actually have them both up.
Bro's choice.
All right, I'll just do this BGH Classics because I'm not sure if it was read last week. It's from That Baseball Joe.
Brophy's choice.
There you go. All you need to know is Joe has seen Mark naked at bath time. That was Eric explaining how the crew know each other from episode 106.
Yeah, and it's 100% true.
Joe has told that story no less than 3 times over the course of this podcast, and I love it.
Do 3 out of 4 of us have Tervis tumblers right now? What do you got, Sophie? What's yours got on it?
Pen.
Mine's a nice little beach scene.
Little beach chair.
Mine's an American flag. I win.
Cool.
You're deported. All of
Casey,
you.
your move, Casey.
Mine's Notre Dame, but it's not a Tervis.
It's not a Tervis tumbler, lame.
But I did buy a
bet
Yeti knockoff recently, but I left it at work. I was actually
Casey.
planning on bringing it home.
How does it feel to drink cold water and just have like the wettest hands because you're not drinking out of a Tervis?
Sucker. Mark, you're in Florida. You actually they hand you one of those when you cross the border. They're like, here's
Dude,
your Tervis.
I'm not kidding. My father-in-law owns like 30 Tervises.
Well,
This house is crawling with
Also,
Tervises.
Tervises and koozies for your beers are very important.
Oh, bro,
too.
I got so many koozies, and there's so many koozies here. It's like really just the greatest place. There's so many evolutions in drinking. That you can, it's really great. So Joe see me naked. That's old hat.
Who hasn't on this show?
No doubt. So next one is from Robe Ale. Can Schnars review Brett Ratner's whiskey, please?
Oh my God! Please. He would find it offensive, I'm sure.
Oh my God! It's called oh Jesus! It's called the Hillhaven or the Hillhaven. I don't know how to pronounce it. Hillhaven Lodge. Oh, that looks terrible. It looks really great. I'm gonna want to read that next time he's on the show. Next one is from Stout2114. Better holiday song: Weezer Holiday, Green Day Holiday, or Pixies The Holiday Song. Hashtag Team Joe, Team Joe, Team Joe.
I don't know. Who's got a pick for that?
Weezer.
I mean, as those 3 bands, I like the Pixies the most, but I don't have any strong opinions.
I don't really love any of those bands. I mean, Green Day is objectively the worst of those bands.
Well, and also Holiday by Green Day is just a really annoying song.
Yeah. Dookie. I remember that song.
There you go.
I don't even know if that was a song. I know it was the album.
Also a word for poop, in case you...
Get it? It's like poop.
It might be in Bathroom Rain, so...
It's one of them flaming bags again.
Dookie has her.
Although it would have been really funny in hindsight if they just named the album Poop. I think that would have been really great.
Morning Deuce.
Deuce, yeah. That would have been the second album. That would have been the follow-up.
Oh, nice.
Poop and Deuce. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Poop and Deuce. That's it. Yeah, I'm not even going to make a joke about it.
And then the next one could be named Number 3.
What is number 3?
If you have
Bathroom Rain.
If you have to ask, then you should go to Urban Dictionary.
I don't think I'd
Is that like the 3 seashells?
I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, people make everything up on Urban Dictionary. Like, none of that shit's real.
I feel like that should be the tagline for Urban Dictionary. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's disgusting.
Hey, Urban
Except for
Dictionary.
Bates World. We know what that is.
Urban Dictionary got a redesign. It looks like a real website now.
I know. I love the idea of Urban Dictionary, especially now that like big data is a thing. Sorry, I have something in my eye. I'm like freaking out. This next one's from Schlocky Grotto. To my fellow beer lovers, any sightings of Southern Tier Pumpkin or Warlock yet? A few 4-packs here and Minnesota boonies already.
No, but I've heard some, and also I discovered that some places make pumpkin ciders, which I'm like kind of excited to try, but I'm gonna have to find one first.
Man, there's a lot of new ciders. I've had some delicious ciders. I am gonna be honest, I totally maxed out my pumpkin consumption. I actually didn't have like a single pumpkin last year because I really just ran it right into the ground.
My favorite definition of number 3, and they're not all of them are great. My favorite
Glad you're
one,
here with us, Eric.
my favorite one is the act of taking a shit in a bidet.
What?
Usually-
Why?
Is the bidet on?
Usually done by American tourists in European countries who come back to their hotel rooms drunk.
Ah, I get it.
It takes you gotta do some acrobatics to make that happen. That's like a
There's a lot of different definitions for this, actually. People have put a lot of thought into it.
just
Also-
random aside. Have you guys been inundated with squatty potty YouTube commercials?
No, what?
No.
What kind of shit are you watching? Oh, here's
In a
an,
time of big data, I feel like that says something about what you're looking up on the
Here's
internet.
No, well, I
another-
think it's. I wonder if it's because, like, seriously, big data. I wonder if it's like I've had numerous people on my Facebook like recommend it. It's such a weird thing to recommend.
here's another secret game we can play. I logged into the BGH YouTube and got a whole list of recommendations of like sexy Amelia Clark videos, and I can tell you that it was not me that led the BGH YouTube down that road. So I'd really want to know who has access to the BGH YouTube that's looking at sexy Amelia Clark stuff.
I mean, not for nothing. He's not here to defend himself, but John's usually the one who sets up our YouTube stuff.
I mean,
when-
and honestly, like, I can't blame you. I just thought it was hilarious that I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Okay, that's wow.
Listeners, write in with your best guess.
We're all gonna throw each other
John
under the bus
forgot
for
to
that
close
one.
the door to his spank bank.
I hope BC gets some really good gifts of me, like squinting because I have something in my eye. This next one's from Blue Daisy 90. Is anyone else tired of Lorenza Izzo yet?
Is that Mrs. Roth?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's fine. I like her better in something that's not an Eli Roth movie.
Yes. I actually enjoyed her in this one, and she's not playing the same character that she's played in all of the Eli Roth movies she's been in.
She
so.
has very large eyes, like very big, expressive eyes, and I like that. Just being honest.
I commented I was live slacking this movie while I was watching it. I commented this is the least annoyed I've been by her in a movie.
Yeah.
So but also the movie was 10 minutes long. So that would
I have little, tiny, creepy, beady eyes, so I enjoy people with large eyes.
yeah.
It's true.
Apparently, honestly, she does a lot better when Eli Roth is not writing things for her to say.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
So it just makes me wonder what Sherry Moon Zombie would be like in a movie not written by her dreadlock of a husband.
I'm gonna start your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Wah.
Next one from Blue Daisy. If you had to rewrite each short to still fit with each holiday theme, what would yours be about?
I would make one actually about Halloween.
Yeah.
That's it. Boom.
That's cold.
Hammer drop.
Hard to outdo that one.
I feel like I would just make like Mark said, I feel like the ending to Mother's Day was kind of like a wet fart, and I wish it had a more effective ending because it had creepy tension in it, and then the ending just kind of didn't make sense.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's a good answer because I think there's a couple of them I would have liked to have seen more of. So I would extend some.
Yeah, when I found out that there was a New Year's Eve one, I was surprised that it didn't take place at like a New Year's Eve party. I feel like there would be like some really interesting territory to get into there. I don't know exactly what it would be, but yeah.
Who sent the link? Sorry, I'm totally off on the thing here. Oh, Casey did with this stainless steel tumbler thing. I almost bought one of these, but like a small one that was like a bourbon glass sized.
Yeah.
That's
pretty great.
You can put
You'll
hot,
have ice the next morning.
You can put
leave
hot
it in there
and cold stuff in it. That's amazing.
in case you need that.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to Jay Schnaps to see if we can get some BGH Tervises.
Oh my
Yeah.
Or just
God.
Yes.
maybe I should just have him call Tervis and
Wait
be
a
like,
minute.
listen.
Can we make it like this though? So it's like an embroidered patch inside of it, because that's what I like with the BGH logo.
Yeah.
That shit.
Wow.
You can design your own Tervises on the website.
But are they embroidered? It's got to be the
No.
embroidered one.
What? Why haven't we done this?
God, Tervis. I swear we're not getting paid.
Design your own Tervis.
Next one is from that Baseball Joe. What holiday would you not mind having to relive every day, and what holiday would be hell to live every day? Oh man, I as someone who doesn't really celebrate Easter but loves deviled eggs, I would love if every day was Easter.
See, I hate Easter because it's like the most Jesus-y of holiday. Like, there's enough stuff going around Christmas that I can just ignore that part. But like,
But candy and deviled eggs, dude.
I'm expected
Plus,
to go to church. And
As someone who goes to church on Easter, I am drunk by 9 a.m. at a church breakfast, and then I take a nap, and then I go get drunk at lunch with my parents. So
I'm not a big fan.
Easter's kind of great.
Also, living in Boston, I dread St. Patrick's Day every year. It's not as big a deal now that I'm in the suburbs, but we used to literally like batten down the hatches and just like not come out until the sun was up again.
It was like the purge.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I've done about all the fun things you can do while being super wasted. So I think that St. Patrick's Day is not. St. Patrick's Day's jumped the shark for me a little bit. Also, Chicago just turns, not that I'm there anymore, but it soured me on the holiday because it turned into just like a fucking mob scene on St. Patrick's Day. So
yeah, I feel like Thanksgiving would be a hard one to do every day because you just eat too much.
You die. You would
I don't
be
have
dead.
the sweat pains for that.
Yeah.
Word.
I also hate like Valentine's Day is really stupid. I think we can all agree.
Yeah, I can do that one. Next one is from 40 Ounce Heroes. What's your favorite holiday and why? You can say Halloween, but that's the easy answer.
It's Halloween.
Yeah.
You know.
I would say strong second goes to, even though it's been a couple years since I've really done anything on this holiday, I love 4th of July just because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I like 4th of July. It's a nice kind of midway point in the summer and you get drunk and go to
blowing shit up.
Yeah, right. It's a celebration of the summer and blowing shit up. Like you don't even really have to be super patriotic, but I think it's a great holiday.
If there had been a 4th of July short in this movie, what would it have been?
Oh God, it just gives me Uncle Sam flashbacks. I've mentioned it multiple times on the show, but Uncle Sam is one of the only movies next to the Garbage Pail Kids movie that I've ever turned off halfway through because it was so bad.
Yeah.
So it'd be that.
Yeah, but it had that sweet lenticular VHS cover where if you turned it, it was like a monster. And also,
I think my second favorite holiday is Friday the 13th, which I do count as a holiday.
Sure. All right, Eric. Oh wait, sorry, never mind.
Damn it.
Almost there. This one's from Robale. Why didn't Epic Mealtime just cut the cord?
It's a great question. That's such a good question.
I didn't recognize this guy. I'm surprised you guys like.
But there's electricity going through the cord. Wouldn't you electrocute yourself?
Oh, I guess you would. Yeah.
It's glued in his butt, Sophie.
But I feel like if it was turned off, it would like just zap you. It wouldn't kill you. It would be better than getting killed by like an inexplicable vibrator in your butt that doesn't make sense.
We definitely just wrote like 20 future BGH classics.
This whole episode is
also like why not? Like it's 2016. There's got to be wireless ones, right? Why bother with the cord at all?
Right. Well, because like I guess the idea is that he's so cheap he didn't buy them nice vibrators. I mean, he bought them 3 for 1 like frozen dinner tacos.
Oh man. Great.
That movie, that shirt also took a huge leap. That was like 3 women in a room together. They used to call that a coven. We're witches.
Yeah. Like, boom.
What?
That's very randomly threatening. I do think that like even though he tries really hard to be funny, for some reason the thought that one of them was just like scraping burnt cheese off of a toaster oven was actually kind of funny to me. I don't know why. Said something about hot pockets. I don't know. Try lean pockets too. All right, next one from Robale. This is a memed out picture of the dude suction cupping his way up Trump Tower. Says Schnars loses keys to Trump Tower, misses the podcast.
Yeah, we'll put that in the video. It's pretty
well
good.
Played.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
Very well played. Because like I saw it and didn't even think about Schnars, which is incredible.
Really funny, and we will retweet that from the BGH account as soon as I'm done paying attention to things for the show.
Like I didn't even
hilarious.
I didn't even think about Schnars, and that's amazing because I'm always thinking about Schnars.
Yeah, for sure. He's sipping some fine cocktail in San Francisco right now. That guy. Next one. Surprisingly common question. This is from Stout2114. Could you not just use a knife to cut the power supply to the vibrating dildo? Important live question. Kevin Smith blows. I love that bookend. It's really good. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a lot of the second you start trying to apply logic to it, it just sort of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he did do that and then he had to go to the hospital to get the super glue dildo removed from his butt?
It's a long story. You're going to have to weave.
Well, you see, someone was scraping cheese out of the toaster oven.
That's how it got started.
And then everything went downhill. Which is actually a pretty good way to describe this short in general. Last one. Franchise MPLS. Wrong crowd probably, but do any of you play fantasy football?
I do.
Oh,
I
maybe not.
used to.
Yeah, I used to be way into it. I actually had a job that involved large amounts of watching football on the weekend. No, it's kind of a long story, but so then it was perfect because I just played fantasy football, so I gave a shit. It's just too much, like, it's too much work and homework and, you know.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you,
I
I play
won.
fantasy football. I don't watch football. One time I got talked into joining a fantasy football league with my brother, and now he won't let me quit. So every year I essentially, as myself, auto draft. Like, I'm not allowed to auto draft, but like that's what I do.
I like auto draft. I feel like every league should just be auto drafting, and then you just got to make do with whatever you
Yeah,
get.
but like everyone in my league gets butthurt if I actually just say like I'm just gonna set it to auto draft. So what I do is I sit there for the whole draft and I just draft whoever is
And
the
you hit
next
auto draft.
for whatever thing.
So
Yeah.
I'm just doing
you
it
manual.
myself.
The
you
one
manual
year,
auto-draft.
the
Yeah.
one year I won the league I was in, I literally didn't watch a single game. Like, I actually have started watching football more last couple of years. I didn't watch a single game that year. I just went by like the ESPN website. It's whoever they said to start, and then I did.
Yeah. Did you have a trophy?
No, I have money. We all put money in.
We're gonna have a trophy.
I've been in a couple pick'em leagues, and that's about that is about the level of involvement I can handle, which is just pick who wins the games. And that's worked out for me. I won like $140 one year, and I felt like a hot shot. But same deal. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just picking, just clicking radio buttons. There you go. Eric, are you alive?
Yeah.
Earth to Eric.
Is that it?
What are you looking at?
Is that it?
Do you have your own VR headset that shows you
looking at
your
this-
darkest desires?
He's looking at the Turvis tumbler.
Yeah, I am. That looks fucking awesome.
The
We are
best
doing
part
this.
about having
We-
video is that like every now and then Eric's eyes just like dart off to the, as I'm sure mine do, just dart off to the corner of the screen and he freezes.
We are doing this shit. Turvis it. Mark my words.
Turvis it. I hope that's their slogan.
Turvis.
Got a drink? Turvis.
Got a problem? Turvis it. info@bloodygoodhorror.com is email address. We're also on Twitter @BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And if you're listening to classics, which you would do by signing up through patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror, for a small nominal fee every month, you can get access to every single episode of Bloody Good Horror. It's all in a Google Drive. You can stream it like a podcast, any episode you want, and you'll get access to the streaming live video show every week and the pre-show. Exciting stuff. What do we do next week? Did we decide yet?
No.
I think we have another open week, though.
Okay, well, we had a list of some like video stuff. Anybody know when we're in the theater again?
I can tell you here in a moment.
Yeah, go ahead. We got time.
The
Let's see
2nd of
here.
September is something is coming out, and I don't remember what the
Oh God, September.
Blair Witch
Jesus.
question mark is September
No,
2nd? Or is that
we're
the
back
6th?
at the end of the month in the theater for Don't Breathe,
Don't
the
Breathe.
week of the 26th.
Yep.
And we
Well,
actually have a run of 4 theatrical movies then. We've got Don't Breathe, Morgan, Before I Wake in the Woods, or Blair Witch now, I guess.
Yeah, Morgan.
So-
I'm way excited for that Morgan movie.
Looks like Splice.
Yeah.
Same
does.
deal.
But we have 2 open weeks before us. We get for this next week and the week after. So we haven't
Awesome.
decided yet. We had a list of stuff from this last time. We may put it out for a Patreon vote. We talked about doing that. So yeah.
Well, in the meantime, check out bloodygoodhorror.com and all the fun things going on over there, including, hopefully soon, CC's breakdown of Father's Day, because it's really good. It's going to do it for the show. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Adios.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.